Today's module is all about health and safety and is sponsored by Yellow People and Culture. So in Yellow's previous video, we talked a lot about HR, but Yellow People and Culture specifically specialise in workplace health and safety. There is still this common perception that health and safety is for construction, but it's not all about hard hats and steel cap boots. It's much broader than that, and it's really important that you understand your obligations as an employer. So firstly, the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015 places an obligation on employers to not only ensure physical safety, but also mental health, that's an important one, and overall well-being of their workers. This is a really important aspect of the health and safety requirements here in Aotearoa, as it extends beyond just physical injury prevention and focuses on all factors which contribute to health and well-being, which we love. The HSWA 2015 was designed to move the focus away from monitoring and recording health and safety incidents to proactively seeking to improve working conditions for everyone to ensure and enhance safety and well-being in the workplace. And whilst this can be clear-cut in the sense of mitigating risk from a physical perspective, so traditional health and safety, it can be more complex when you are thinking about the well-being of your staff holistically. And additionally, in the context of Aotearoa, viewing well-being from a kaupapa Māori perspective moves the focus from simply an individual in the workplace to all elements in one's life, which makes them uniquely them. So why should businesses care about employee well-being? I mean, how many businesses don't, right? But you should, because in short, a business or an organisation should care about the overall well-being of their employees, because healthier workers equals wealthier business. You are nothing without your team. If you only need one motivating factor to invest in the well-being of your workforce, your bottom line is it. Happier staff are more engaged, they're more productive, they're more effective, and they all massively impact profitability as an outcome. Happy staff who are engaged and feel satisfied with their employment have fewer absences, they develop less ongoing health conditions, and they are more likely to stay in their job for longer, which of course reduces recruitment costs, training costs, as well as that loss of productivity you get when staff leave. Finally, the more satisfied and valued your workforce feels, the better your reputation as an employer, and thus you will attract and retain a higher calibre of employee. You can learn more about the business benefits of well-being at wellplace.nz. So how do you know if your employee well-being is good or bad and if you need to change anything? Well, here's an idea. Ask them. Conducting periodic staff surveys will help you gauge how good your organisation is at taking care of your workforce's well-being. By using metrics and feedback that you receive from conducting surveys, you will gain really valuable insight into how your business is currently performing in this area, and it will help you identify key areas of improvement. Ensure that you provide the opportunity to both score/rate and feedback their experiences in their own words, so that you end up with a well-rounded set of data and suggestions to work from. Even if you are in the early stages of business with few employees, you can still create short, uncomplicated surveys through something like Google Forms or SurveyMonkey and get really useful feedback. It's actually really ideal to do this because you will have a benchmark early on, and you'll be able to spot changes and trends more easily and respond to them more quickly, because as you hire more staff, the dynamic will change. So what do you do with that information? The best way to plan your next steps is to have the information at hand, to clean it, organise it, and analyse it in a way that tells you what you need to know. So when you understand what the data is telling you, then you begin to map out your strategy, because you can't fix what you don't know about. So there are several things you can do here, from creating a wellbeing policy, which outlines your commitment and intentions to enhancing workplace wellbeing. You can implement a wellbeing program, investing in a digital platform containing resources and service providers for your employees to access. Whether you choose one or a combination of these depends on the context of your business and what is appropriate and realistic for you and your resources. Some suggestions you can look at. So you can create a wellbeing program specific to your organisation's context, with input from all the staff into the development and implementation of the program, including the name, the scope, the specific focus areas, and link these to your organisation values. This will encourage buy-in and engagement from your employees and ensure that the program is actually relevant to the organisations and what they stand for. 2 is invest in a digital platform for employees to access resources and EAPs, or counselling and support services, which will allow self-determination of this entire process. Whether this is a dedicated page on your website, a staff intranet, or an online HR kiosk depends on, again, what is most appropriate for you and your business's digital environment. You can consider an incentive like a wellbeing allowance or one-off payment for things like gym or yoga memberships, subsidised health insurance, wellbeing workshops, or contributions towards equipment which might encourage an increased participation in physical exercise. If there is a financial barrier to participating in wellbeing activities, It may prove to be a great investment for your organisation to help fund these, particularly if you are not paying a living wage, which, in my personal opinion, you should be. I have always offered double the sick leave, and to be perfectly honest, I tend not to take sick leave off people anyway. You can't help being sick. You can give additional leave days. You can encourage leave to be taken immediately upon starting employment rather than waiting for the statutory entitlement period to be met. Some organisations offer a rostered and paid day or half day periodically, like monthly or quarterly, which can be used simply for an activity that enhances their well-being. Whatever you choose as the right options for your organisation, be sure to use that information prominently, make sure it's visible and accessible. You want your staff to actually take up these opportunities. They're not just a tick box exercise for you to have, so make it easy. Realistically, you can go as big or small as you like here, depending on the size of your business and your workforce. But any initiative you implement is likely to have a really positive impact on your employee well-being if the intentions are clearly in the right place. The next area to think about is physical working location. In the early stages of a new business, you might have remote workers or work remotely yourself as a contractor, and it's really crucial that you understand that health and safety obligations of a business owner or employer do extend to remote working. This is why remote working is actually more complicated than employees understand. There are some specific considerations which you need to address in these cases, and your policies need to cover this. This can be really tricky when you're managing the balance between working from home and taking sick leave. So having clear guidelines in place from the beginning will help you navigate through this. I have never allowed someone who is not well to go home and work at home, which is what they will always say. And that's probably fear of missing out on income, but also fear of disappointing you as an employee. If you are sick, you are sick. Go home, rest, recover. Do not work at home. But you need to have clear guidelines in place from the beginning. That will help you navigate this because it gets more complicated, trust me. Generally, having a risk assessment and hazard identification template before you start allowing your employees to work from home is ideal, because once they're already set up to work from home, technically they're already in the workplace, and then you, as the business owner, are responsible for their health and safety. And lastly, if you are contracting your services to clients where you need to be situated on site in their work environment, you still need to have some measures for health and safety in place as a business owner, as well as a responsibility to adhere to these policies and procedures. Does that sound complicated? Well, yeah. This is why it is such a good idea to get expert guidance when you're starting out in a new business, because it is much more expensive to try and right things that are wrong retrospectively. The team at Yellow have a health and safety expertise and have been providing support to businesses of all flavours for risk and hazard identification, health and safety management plans, wellbeing surveys, and all kinds of keep safe policies. They know it can be a really scary world to navigate through with a lot of responsibility as a business owner that we all tend to treat a little bit too lightly. But don't stress, because they absolutely have your back.